The last FIFA Men's World Cup featured 32 teams. In 2026, for the first time, it expands to 48. Last summer, a single plateau in Oslo hosted 2,183 teams. They arrive in late July, when the Norwegian light stretches past 11 at night. Buses from airports, vans with foreign license plates, kids carrying sleeping bags and football boots through the streets of a city most of them have never seen. They come from Brazil, from Japan, from Kenya, from every corner of Europe. By the time the first whistle blows, over 50 nations are represented on 90 pitches cut into the same hill. This is Norway Cup, the largest football tournament on Earth. It is not for professionals, it is for children. The venue is Ekebergsletta, a wide exposed plateau southeast of Oslo center, with the fjord glittering below it. For 51 weeks of the year, it is an ordinary park. Dogs run across it. Locals walk through it without a second thought. Then for 1 week each summer, it transforms. 90 pitches, side by side, so close you can hear the referees' whistles bleed into each other. Games kick off every few minutes from morning until the light fades. Somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 matches are played in a single week. Walk across Ekebergsletta during the tournament, and you move through dozens of languages in the space of 100 meters. Portuguese, Japanese, Arabic, Norwegian, English, Spanish. All of it conducted in the universal dialect of teenagers shouting at a ball. In 2023, Norway Cup hit an all-time record of 2,183 teams. Ages 6 through 19. Boys and girls. A 3 versus 3 format for the youngest on the final weekend, full 11-a-side for the older brackets. Over its history, more than 53,000 teams have participated, players and referees from 127 nations. Most tournaments that call themselves the world's largest top out in the hundreds. Norway Cup operates on an entirely different order of magnitude. It is a mini World Cup with no television cameras, no corporate hospitality, no ticket revenue, just kids. Thousands and thousands of kids. The tournament was founded in 1972 by Ekebergsletta Sports Club, a multi-sport club from the eastern edge of Oslo that has existed since 1909. The first edition drew 420 teams and 8,400 participants, already larger than most national youth tournaments anywhere in the world at the time. It has run every year since, with only 3 exceptions. In 1976, the club organized a handball tournament instead. In 2020 and 2021, the pandemic shut it down. But the detail that matters most comes from that very first year. In 1972, Norway Cup fielded 8 girls' teams. This was 4 years before the Norwegian Football Association officially recognized women's football. The federation did not acknowledge the women's game until 1976, but on that plateau above Oslo, girls were already competing, already being given a pitch, a referee, a bracket, a trophy. The first ever women's champion was Amazon Grimstad, who beat Vestar on penalties. The tournament is widely considered one of the birthplaces of organized women's football in Norway. Not because of a federation initiative, not because of a government program, because a local sports club in Oslo simply decided girls should play. That decision tells you something about how Norway operates. Institutions can be slow. Formal recognition can lag. But the culture does not always wait for permission. The tournament is run almost entirely by volunteers. Ekebergsletta Sports Club has roughly 2,800 members. In a typical year, close to 1,800 of them donate their time during tournament week. That is over 60,000 volunteer hours, concentrated into the exact week most Norwegians are supposed to be on vacation. The volunteers range from teenagers to retirees. They manage the schedules. They staff the food tents. They convert 30 local schools into dormitories. They handle medical incidents, lost children, international travel logistics, cultural misunderstandings, and weather emergencies. They build a small city on a hill, run it for a week, then dismantle it, and they do it for free. The accommodation system is its own kind of miracle. Visiting teams sleep in Oslo's public schools, classrooms cleared of desks, sleeping bags on the floor, shower facilities shared between entire squads. Food is served in large tents. Transport between schools and pitches runs on coordinated bus schedules. For many players, particularly those from countries where organized youth sport is a luxury, the classroom floor in Oslo is the most memorable accommodation of their lives. They remember it not despite the sparseness, but because of it. The simplicity is the point. It is difficult to name a Norwegian professional footballer who did not pass through Ekebergsletta as a child. Oscar Bobb, now a regular in the national side and a Premier League player, has called Norway Cup one of his best football memories. Martin Ødegaard and Erling Haaland, the kids who would become the golden generation, almost certainly took their first tournament touches on these same pitches. Erik Mykland played here. So did John Carew, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Stefan Iversen. The tournament has been producing Norwegian internationals for 5 decades. And what happened to those kids later is not a separate story. 2 decades after running across Ekebergsletta with a sleeping bag and a pair of boots, some of those same faces were rowing Viking boats through American stadiums during a World Cup run. The story this channel has been tracking since the first qualification match. Norway Cup is not a footnote to Norwegian football. It is the origin point. But the alumni who matter more are the thousands who never went professional. The kids who flew home with a pin collection, a new accent in their English, and a friend in a country they could not previously have found on a map. This is the part people who have been there always mention. Not the trophies, not the matches. The trading, pins, jerseys, phone numbers, kids from completely different countries, with no shared language beyond the game, spending their time between matches bartering and laughing and forming bonds that, in some cases, last decades. The tournament's own vision statement describes itself as the world's largest and most important arena for the joy of sport and friendship. On Ekebergsletta in late July, it does not feel like marketing. A typical week looks like this. Arrival. Your team is assigned a school, sleeping bags in a classroom, corridor bathrooms, breakfast in a tent. The opening ceremony is a parade. Thousands of kids march through Ekeberg in their kits. Flags out, converging on the main field for a concert. Then matches begin. Multiple per day. Group stage into knockout rounds. Between games, there is no bus back to a hotel. You stay on the plateau. You watch other games. You trade. You eat at the food tents. You exist inside this temporary nation of young athletes for 7 days. By Saturday, the plateau is a park again. Norway is a country of 5.5 million people. It is not a football superpower. It has never won a senior World Cup. Its domestic league does not compete with England, Spain, Germany, or Italy. And yet the largest football tournament on the planet happens here. Not in Sao Paulo. Not in London. Not in Barcelona. In Oslo. On a hill above a fjord. Run by a local sports club whose members give up their holiday week to make it work. The paradox resolves when you look at what Norway actually is. The same country that built a sovereign wealth fund worth $1.9 trillion by deciding oil money should benefit future generations rather than the current one. The same country where 93% of children participate in organized sport, not as elite athletes, but as a cultural baseline. The same country whose supporters just flooded American stadiums with the largest coordinated Viking row ever captured on camera. Norway does not produce footballers the way Brazil or France does, through individual brilliance forged in poverty and hunger. It produces them through infrastructure, through volunteerism, through a cultural assumption that every child, regardless of talent, deserves a pitch and a tournament and a sleeping bag on a classroom floor. Most people who do not play youth football have never heard of Norway Cup. No broadcast rights, no corporate sponsors, no social media trend cycle. And yet, by the raw count of kids, countries, and games played, it is the largest football tournament that has ever existed. It has been happening quietly on the same hill for over 50 years. No marketing campaign, no global brand, just a club, a plateau, and 53,000 teams across half a century, proving that if you build something good enough, the world will find its way to your door. Hidden Norway exists because stories like this, the ones that don't fit the postcard, are what this country actually is. A nation of 5.5 million people building the largest youth football tournament on earth. Not because anyone asked them to, but because in 1972, a local sports club decided to invite the world to a hill in Oslo. If you find yourself drawn to Norway, the people, the culture, the things that don't make sense until you see them up close, you have come to the right place. Subscribe and follow along.